Loading, loading, loading. Let's see. I want to get the green light before I start teaching you. All right. It looks like we're live. Hello. Happy Friday morning. I am sitting here with a raging headache because four out of my five children woke up overnight. I haven't even had my coffee yet, so what a perfect time to do a live stream that hundreds of people are going to see and judge me on. But I want to help somebody that I was just on a one-to-one consultation with. We'll call her NA. Those are her initials, so this is for you. Enjoy this special gift. And we were looking at one of her graphs that was a scatter plot. And we were looking at a bunch of her graphs, but the first one was a scatter plot. And I was like, oh, this needs to be like a bar chart or a lollipop chart or a swarm chart. And I showed her some examples based on like public facing blog posts I had, but it wasn't her data. So I'm going to make those graphs and kind of walk you through the how-to process and the design process as we go. And then at the very end of the live stream, the last like 3 to 5 minutes, I'll do a recap. So if you're watching this like later, not on Friday, August 29th, just skip ahead to the last few minutes and then you can see like an overview of like, this is why the scatter plot doesn't exactly work for this data set. This is the overview of the bar chart, the lollipop, the swarm plot, and everything. And then I will hopefully develop a masterpiece in Excel that can save a bunch of you time, and I will then like afterwards make this Excel file available to download too. So you'll just have to look in the comments below this YouTube video for the chapters and the timestamps and the Excel file. Okay, that is enough context. Let's get into the how-tos that I have not started yet, but that's the point of this like little live stream work session. I was going to be building this anyway, so I thought why not live stream it and help maybe you, help you, okay? So, let's see, the before the scatter plot, I'm going to kind of quickly make that and then I really just want to make a swarm plot. Should I just make this one? Should I also make I don't know. I've got like 4 meetings today. I should be doing my quarterly tax organizer for my accountant. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Okay. This is the focus. We'll see TBD if we have time to maybe go backwards and make these. Maybe I'll do a rough mock-up of these. Okay, first I need to create the data set. Now, this is going to be inspired by N's data set, but obviously not her real numbers because I don't even have those in front of me. So I'm going to just kind of like make up a pretend, and she showed me pretend numbers anyway. So it's like double pretend now. It was about uh, hospitals. I don't think that's sharing anything private. I won't tell you the names of the hospitals. And I've worked with dozens of hospitals and they all do different screenings. It's the screening rate for a particular thing that they're screening for. Okay, so imagine we've got how many hospitals does she have in real life? Dozens. I'll make up like 100 pretend hospitals and I'll make up some screening rates. And because it's Friday morning with not a lot of coffee in my system, let's just call these hospital one, hospital two, hospital three. I feel like I could use like a Copilot or a chat GPT to kind of like make up some, the so and so Memorial Hospital. I feel like I could make up some cool names, but we're just going to number them for now. And then the screening rates, so that's like a percentage, right? Between 0% of patients screened and 100% of the patients screened with a goal. What should our fake goal be? We'll say it's like 40%. So let's make up numbers between 0 and 1. But then I want these to be percentages. So maybe between 0 and 100. And then I will percent them, but then I'll divide them by 100 to get Excel to give me, yeah, that's the format I need. Okay, cool. Don't use ran between in real life. This is just for instructors teaching YouTube videos with pretend data sets. How many is this? 100-ish? Yeah, let's just make a nice even 100. Why not? In real life, she had like not this exact number I said, but something close to that. Okay, and then we're going to paste the values. And I wonder, let's say the goal is, what did I say, like 40%? 40% of patients screened. Cool. Because what we want to be able to show is like how many hospitals were at or above that rate and how many were below. So the before version that she had was she showed me a scatter plot and I was like, oh, you're on the right track. I love that this isn't just like bar charts and bar charts and bar charts. I love that you've already, thought outside the box and used a xenograph, a foreign graph, an unusual graph, a graph you don't see every day that helps you sit up straight in your seat and pay attention. But it wasn't quite a scatter plot because scatter plots have two variables, X and Y, and we only had one. We only have one variable here, the screening rates. Like there's no second variable. So I'm gonna quickly like make this for you and show it to you to kind of try to remake her original and then we'll work on these. Okay. So to make a scatter plot, we highlight the interior of the table. Usually you can ignore the column headers on scatter plots. They're kind of funny like that. Let's see, because actually I tried this the other day. I had to highlight the column headers. Let's go to insert and grab a scatter plot. And I might tweak the numbers a little bit because they are truly random. I might make them a little bit closer to the pattern we had. She had, what are we saying is oh, and then they were this way. Yeah, this is what she had. It was kind of like a lollipop chart. Um, Let me keep track of, I'm going to go nice and orderly so that you can download this Excel file later. This is the scatter. This is the default, yuck yuck. And let's just do the lightest of light editings. This was going on a slide. So I'm going to size it for a nice wide widescreen slide. Okay, sizing for a slide. Let's make it a nice 5 by 10 because slides are 13.33 inches wide, 7.5 inches tall, but you need a little space for a title. You might need some space for a footer or some notes about the data source. So I usually do 5 by 10 for slides. And then I always aim for 18 body for slides so that everything is nice and legible. Okay. Let's see. The percentages, they don't go above 100. You either screened 0% of the patients or 100. There's no such thing as over 100 in this case. And what else did she have in her original? Maybe she had demarcations every 25% or so. She didn't have lines here, and she didn't have labels here. And then the chart title, we're not going to use the built-in chart titles. Those are garbage. They're hard to edit. We would add the title later in PowerPoint. What else did she have on her original? I think she had a line showing the goal. And you know what? I didn't ask her how she added that. Do I dare cheat on a live stream that a ton of people are gonna see and just do this is the lazy way. This is the cheating way. You just add a line to where you want the horizontal line. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, let's not do that. What's the like the real way to do this? Would be a combo chart? Shoot. I don't know. That should be a whole nother live stream of like figuring out how to add that to. I've never added that to a scatter plot. This isn't the winning chart anyway. Um, oh, you know what? Something's happening here. There's too much white space here. Let's temporarily add back our axis. This only needs to go to 100 because we have 100 hospitals. Great. And do we add back in the line that she had? How would I add that? Do I need to add a goal here? And do I repeat it all the way down? Let's see. And then let's try a combo chart to add this. I just hate going to insert shapes and adding a line. It feels so blah. Do I add all this data? Maybe I think I should highlight the column header too. Combo charts usually like the column header added. Okay, okay. I'm pleasantly surprised with my brain, with my headache. Okay, and then those are dots. That's where we want our 40% to be. And we don't want it to be dots, though. We want it to be a line. So let's right click and go to change chart type. I think I can do a scatter here. Welcome if you're watching live. Say hi in the chat. I can see there's people here, but I don't know who you are. So please feel free to comment with questions, reflections, Friday morning hellos. Okay, let's change this to a combo. We want the screening rates as she had a scatter, and we want the goal to be a line. Yeah, that's better. Yeah? Is this what we want? Yeah. Okay, this is very, very close to what she had, except she didn't have the hospital names down below. Okay. She didn't have this. Yeah, she had like this. And I was like, is one dot a hospital? And she was like, yeah. So, and then these in real life, what color were they? They were, I can't remember. And then she had an orange line. I remember that. And I was like, let's at least make the line like a good color, like a blue or a green instead of an orange. But let me kind of replicate what she had. She had a, I'll just use like red. Okay. And I can't remember if this goal line, which wasn't 40%, it was her real number. I don't think it was labeled. I think maybe on the slide title or maybe just with her voice, she told me that the goal was 40. Okay, now these are two rand betweened. These aren't what her real numbers looked like. There were a few hospitals below the line and there were a bunch up above. And even a bunch of them were actually at 100%, doing really, really good. So I'm going to go back in and just like manually change these fake numbers. Let's make a few let's make a few that are 1 to 100. Oops, not 1 to 100. Let's make a few that are in like the 1 to 10 range. Let's make like this many that are like below. Maybe make a few more that are like definitely in this range. And I just can't hand type these. My brain doesn't have energy for this. My son woke up at I think 2 in the morning. He was up from like 2 to 6, which is an autism thing. He just is awake sometimes at night. And luckily he wasn't like causing trouble. And then both of my twins woke up. And then my first grader woke up and I was just up for hours. Oh well. Like busy life as a mom of five. At least my 9-year-old slept through the night. Okay. And then these were, let's see, we had a few that were, I want to make sure a bunch of them are like truly in this upper range. Again, just to kind of like mimic the distribution that she had a little bit more. Let's make sure there's a bunch that are like high-ish. High-ish. Okay, what does this pattern look like? Are we getting kind of closer? That's closer. That's closer to her real ones. A bunch of lows, a bunch of highs, a bunch, yeah, just kind of in the middle. Okay. I'm satisfied with that. Hopefully, NA, if you're watching, hopefully you'll be satisfied with that too. Copy, paste the values, and then I'm gonna sort these like I want to sort them randomly because that's how hers were. I think the hospitals were maybe alphabetized in real life or something. They weren't arranged by screening goals. And that was one of the first things I said. I was like, let's at least do like a bar chart arranged greatest to least. I'm going to I feel like I spend half the time on live streams making up fake data sets, but that's okay. I want to show something that like mimics people's real data so they can learn from it. That's not totally made up, but I also like I don't want to use their real data for obvious reasons. And okay, let's just sort these by the column E. Sort by E. There. Those are more, oops, I have headers. Sort data has headers. Sort by E. Sorry, this isn't a teaching session. This is a working session. So if I'm going too quickly, apologies, comment anytime and ask like, how did you do that? Can you repeat that? Can you walk me through that? And I will gladly help you out. Welcome, Heavenly 1972 on the YouTube Live. Happy Friday to you as well. I'm glad you're here. Okay, let's see. So her before looked, yeah, kind of more like that. That's not that. There's no pattern. That's okay. Hers didn't have a pattern. So this is half edit. This is what hers looked like about, but I can't leave this red line. Let's at least do some bare minimum edits. Like we're gonna add a label here and we're gonna call this, what did I call it? Target, goal, something like that. Goal And I want the separator to be, I really want a colon, not a comma or a semicolon. Let's do a new line. That's kind of the next closest thing. And that's gonna be, let's do this whole thing in like one brand color. She would use her hospital's real, or the hospital system's real brand colors in real life. Something like this. Maybe that's not bold. And that's about what she had. Yeah, I feel happy with that. Okay, great. That's about what she had. Should we keep track of these on PowerPoint? Yeah, let's do it. I want a I hate this automatic Copilot thing. Go away. I don't want this picture. I want just like a regular slide. Go away. Open a blank. Do not make a new presentation, Copilot. I want the title, and I'm going to lightly slide master these. And we want this up here. We have limited space. We can't afford to waste anything. Let's make it a like that. Just get rid of all this gunk, 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 gunk. Go away, go away. Let's do we'll do Anne's brand colors. This in real life would be her brand colors, like that. What do I usually do my slide titles? 40s, 40s, and I usually do bold, but that can be edited. View, and no, slide master, close view, file, save as. The other day when I wasn't teaching or doing a live stream, I was talking to myself because I was figuring out something so tricky. I feel like I saved this already. Where did I not save this? Maybe I typed the date wrong. I called this swarm plot. Did I not already make a table? What did I call this? 2025 0829. Where am I not looking in the right place? Where's my folder? Oh, right there. Oh, I just didn't call it live stream. Okay. Um, Swarm. I'm going to make these files available for you to download if you want them to save you some time. So you don't have to spend like an hour fighting with Excel doing this. You can just start from the rough template that I've got. Okay. This would be, I don't know what the slide title would be. Something about screening rates, blah, 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 blah. It'd be something like that. And then this one would look like that. I guess it could technically be wider than 10 inches. You know, it would look about like that. Maybe we should make these 12 inches wide. Looks like too bare. View, grid lines. I usually make white space on the side. I usually do them like this. So the slide's not too full. I guess instead of 5 by 10, I should have made this, what, 5 by 12? Let's do a 5 by 12. Okay, getting these little details is kind of like super boring for me to figure out ahead of time. Um, but it makes everything else flow so much better if you just decide like, is this going to be sized for Word, for PowerPoint? Is this going to be an interactive dashboard? Like having that context and planning done in advance is going to make the other drafts just so fast, so nice and fast. Okay, great. I am pleased with the before that we are now. Sorry. We're gonna say bye-bye because we can't use a scatter plot because scatter plots are for X and Y. And we don't have X and Y. So this is kind of what she was kind of trying to make is a lollipop chart. Those are a pain to make in Excel because you actually have to make them as a scatter plot, and same here too. I think it's going to be too busy. With this many hospitals, it's going to be too busy. I will make the busy version of the bar chart, and I'll show you how messy that is. Okay. I might have to sort this differently, or I know I'm going to sort this differently, so I'm going to make a copy of the table. So this is the table for bar chart. Bar chart. Trying to organize the file nice too, because sometimes I get lazy and I don't. And then people later are like, where is everything? Or they don't say that, but I am thinking that. I don't want to make it any harder on you than it needs to be. Okay, this is the bar one. This is the table for the bar chart, and it's going to be sorted greatest to least. Sort by screening rates, smallest to largest, so that we get the somersault and the bar chart goes upside down, so we can focus on the high screening rates, the hospitals that did a really good job. Now we're going to insert a combo chart because I want the bar chart with the line on it. And it's too busy, too busy, too busy. So we're going to adjust this. Actually, let me keep this as the original. Because that's actually kind of what NA had. Was that orientation? It was vertical. Default. Okay. Yeah, she had the percentages going upwards. So do you see like her scatter plot was only showing the endpoints of these, but we kind of need to show all of them. Okay, let's make an edited one real quick. So we're gonna do what do we say, 5 by 12? Look how much faster this one's gonna go. We're gonna do a 18. We're gonna do a darker. We're going to do a rotate, change chart type. Instead of a clustered column, we're gonna do a clustered bar. And oh, but the goal line. How do I get the goal line on there? Is that a column? I think I have to arrange this differently. Yeah, I think it's a column, and I think I only need one. I only need one column. This is hmm. I know I have a template for this. I don't have enough mental energy to fight with this. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel if I don't have to. Okay. I want to look at all my templates. And what would I have called this? Like bar chart with a target line? Bars with target lines on bar and column charts. What's the workaround for getting, I want bars with a target line, not with an insert shape, but actually done. Okay. Target lines on columns, easy peasy. They would look like that. I know how to make that. Target lines on bars. How did I make that when I created this template a million years ago? We can't use a combo chart. Yeah, that's what, because the line, they look redundant. We can add the target line as a grid line. Ugh, as a shape. Ugh. Okay. Problem for another day. I bet there's a better workaround for that. There's probably 3 people in the world who understand the jargon coming out of my mouth right now. Nick Vischer probably understands this if he ever watches this. Yeah, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Should I add one as yeah, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna do it the unsexy way. That's okay. This isn't the winner anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm giving myself a pep talk here. Okay, we're not gonna do a combo after all. We're gonna do a regular bar chart. Um, can I bet there's a way to do that. That's okay. Okay, we're going to delete those. We're going to get an error message on our chart. Are we? No. We're going to change the chart type to a regular bar. We're going to make the scale go from 0 to 100. This is a lot of work for something that's not the winner, but but it's worth it, I think. Those are not going to be size 18 because there's going to be 100 million billion of them. What's going to fit? That size? Size 2? Uh, they're not, you can't label these. We need some like small multiple situation. Hmm. Maybe we would label the top 5 and the bottom 5, something like that. Why don't I label, can I label just this one? It's like I need a combo of bars and a column. Stop, Anne. This isn't the winner. Stop it. Okay, I'm gonna do oh, I hate doing this. I hate doing this. I hate doing this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I hate that. Oh, gross. Pretend I didn't do that. Okay. These are like making my eyes bleed because they're so small. She didn't have 100 hospitals in real life. Why did I make up 100 hospital example? This is horrible. I'm almost getting, are you getting dizzy looking at this? I'm getting dizzy. Well, a bar chart's definitely not going to work then. This is like literally making my headache worse. I'm not even kidding. Oh my gosh. Okay. She did not have this many hospitals in real life. So I'm gonna actually like delete a chunk. She had half this many hospitals in real life. Let me delete a chunk because there's no point of making up a fake data set that's too fake. Let's do yeah, let's just remove like half these. But that's where the swarm plot, what's going to be the winning company. You know what? Yeah, that's where a swarm plot saves the day. Okay. Do I even bother labeling this more? What I was going to do, I need to make this taller so it's actually making me dizzy looking at this. Let's reduce the gap width to like nothing. Um, can I even make it 0? Is this giving me a clustered bar chart? Is that what's going on? It's still a combo chart. I don't want a combo chart. I swear I told it a bar chart. Oh, I know it's okay. I know what's going on. I deleted, that's why. See how it's still pulling in those like empty values because I deleted the cell values, but I should have deleted the column. Okay, this is going to be a little bit better. Oh, thank goodness. Let's do should we do a 0 gap width, but like white outlines? That looks a little busy too. Oh, that looks horrible. Okay. But they're going to be recolored. They're going to be like, where's our above below demarcation? At or above 40 and below. So we're going to do a little gap in the table, which is going to make a gap in the chart. Do we need a bigger gap than that? I would do a bigger gap than that. Let's do, instead of just one space, let's see what a gap of 5 looks like. Because like relatively out of 100 or so of these, that's better. Okay, at or above and below. So these all need to be gray. Do I have to click on those one at a time to make them gray? Gross, gross. I shouldn't have made up 100 of these. I should have done like 10. What was I thinking? This is what the finished product would look like. It would be like a bunch of, like, oh, you didn't make it yet. We don't want to make these bright, like in your face neon orange. We are just kind of like yet another argument for why a swarm plot is going to be the winner. Okay. Do you kind of see the idea? Would those stay purple? Those would stay like, those would stay something. Let me show you. You know what? I know where one is. Let me show you the one that I showed NA during our meeting. It was in here. No point of formatting this whole thing. I'm gonna run out of time if I try to format what's not gonna be the winner anyway. It's gonna look like this. This one. This was the inspo. Something like this, okay? This is, I'm not going to format this whole thing. But do you see how it's like the target would be emphasized? That would be like bold and a brand color. You'd have some icons and words over to the side, and then the ones that didn't are in gray, something like that. Let's copy and paste this just as a reminder that Anne didn't fully format it, but it's kind of like half there. Paste, something like that. That's what it would look like. Something like that. Okay. Edited partially. I just hate leaving things undone, if you haven't noticed that about me. Okay, let's do the swarm plot because this is too many bars. It's like just too much. Okay, for our swarm plot. So we made this one. font, strike through. Kind of half made this one. That's going to be the same busyness. It's just, it's not the winner. This is going to be the winner. Let's make this form plat. Okay, let's see how I have to organize this table. It's a little bit different. That's why I'm using a different table each time because the format of the table directly affects the format of the chart, and different charts need different tables behind the scenes, which is like a lot of people then ask like, how do I know? Well, like that's where all of the templates come in and like training that I do. Okay, so this is for the swarm. This is the one I really want to make. And the swarm plot is going to need a X and a Y. And the Y's are going to, oops, not X, X and Y. Those are in double quotes because they're not like real X's and Y's. And where does the goal factor into this? That is going to be some type of combo chart. Let's bump that over. That might get added later. Combo question mark. The Y, everything's going to be a 1. Everything's going to be a 1. And then we're going to jitter them. You'll see why. Okay. What do I need to highlight to go into this? I think, do I dare try? Do I dare try to incorporate this as a, I've never done a combo swarm plot. Um, that'll be a second layer of editing. Okay, insert a scatter plot. Okay, where the X's are the percentages and the Y is like a made up Y. They all go in a line, they all run into each other because you're seeing the clustering, right? You're seeing like there are a bunch of hospitals down here, there are a bunch up here, there are some here and here and here. Let me edit this and then add the jittering. Default, oh my gosh, unreadable, unreadable. Okay, that's where the edited charts come in. I think I'm gonna love this one. I hope it's as good as I imagined in my head an hour ago when I was meeting on the one-to-one consultation. Okay. Oh, also, very important. Let me actually have my caffeine. Maybe that'll help my headache go away. What cup are we using today? We have a good Starbucks cup collection in our house. We've got the Waikiki Beach today. That's a good one. I was in Waikiki summer 2024 to do a 2-day workshop there with a school system. And then I was like, well, if I'm going from Florida to Hawaii, like I'm not going to turn around and go home. Like, why not stay in paradise for a while? So I stayed, what were we there? 3 weeks? It was great. Okay, let's see. Edited. We've got 5 by 12. Let's bump up the font size for obvious, like, because everybody wears contacts or glasses, obvious accessibility, inclusivity reasons. Delete the built-in chart type, edit the scales, all the usual edits that you do every single time, no matter what. Should we make the scale just go by like those, or maybe like this? Because we're gonna have like a cutoff line at the 40 anyway. This is gonna go from 0 to like 2. And we don't need to label it at all. And we don't need to label this. And I don't know if we need to label this. It looks really empty, doesn't it? It looks so empty. We're going to delete all the built-in yuck yuck, and then we're going to add back in the pieces that we need. Declutter first, then add the more context. Okay. And do these actually overlap much? They actually don't. Let's make them a little bigger. These are called markers. And I usually try to make them about the same size as what the font size is going to be. Let's see what an 18 looks like. It's going to look too cartoonishly large, maybe a 10. See how they start to like stream together? That's where the jittering of the swarm plot comes in, which I haven't done yet, but we're going to do. Okay, maybe we will outline these in white. Oops, not that line. We want the marker, border, solid line, white. That helps. And then let me just see the size of these, what it's going to look like in PowerPoint. I think that size looks pretty decent. I think 18 is the right number. I think. I don't want to, yeah, I don't think I want to make them go any smaller. I think that's right. But we're going to jitter them. They're going to look like a bee swarm. And then we're going to add annotations on top of the chart to label like the min, the max, the average screening rate, who is above or below the goal, things like that. That's all going to be like, that's going to make or break this chart. I would say the annotations, which are literally like insert text box, that makes or breaks all of the xenographs. If it's a regular old bar chart or a regular old nicely formatted pie chart, people have seen those a million times. You don't have to annotate them. But anytime you're using something that people don't see every day, like people don't see scatter plots every day. People definitely don't see swarm plots every day. They wouldn't even know it's called a swarm plot by the time they wouldn't know that. So we're gonna have to annotate it so people know what they're even looking at. Okay, but I think the marker size, I think 18 works. 18 here, 18 here. I'm happy with that. Okay, because that affects how much I jitter these, move them up or down to make the swarm pattern. You got to get all those sizing things right first. Okay, let's add in the jittering, and I'm gonna jitter them over here so that I'm like keeping, I want you to be able, by the time we're done, to compare the default one to the edited one. So I don't want to like replace that one. Okay. This is like the X again, but this one's like jittered. X jittered with jittering. Still have to add back in the goal. Um, Trying to label this for future Anne and future you. Hmm. Wrap, bold, something like that. Okay, how am I going to jitter this? I need some of, no, no, no. The X's aren't jittered, the Y's. We're jittering the Y's. My bad, my bad. I'm gonna zoom way in so you can see the formulas that I will figure out on the fly. More coffee though, we're gonna do a rand between. But rand betweens, when you use percentages instead of just numbers, they always throw me off. I don't know. It's like middle school math and I just can't figure it out. Okay. We are gonna do we're gonna do this. But are we doing like a plus rand between or a minus rand between? We want the numbers to go some like below one and some above one. You know what? I'm gonna make them, wait, why am I doing this? Let me make it easier. Let's not deal with the plus or minus. Let's just make this up as a fake value of 2, and then I don't have to deal with it. Yeah, yeah, that's way better. Okay, that's like 2. This is way better. Work smart, not hard, Annie Banani. Okay, let's add back in the vertical. And I feel bad for anybody meeting me for the first time on a YouTube live stream this morning, and you're like, who is this person who talks to herself as she works? Well, I did a couple quiet live streams one time, and even my daughter was like, aren't you going to tell them what you're doing? Like, isn't that the point? To walk them through your thought process? And I was like, oh yeah, so here you are. You're walking through my thought process. Okay, if everything's like a fake 2, I'm going to make these jittered. I'll show you what happens. Okay, let's do like rand between 1 to 3. I'm going to show you what this looks like. Some are going to go up, some are going to go down. That's going to be too much jittered. Really, we want to jitter them like from a, um, ooh, let me make this even easier. Remember how I don't like dealing with decimals? Let's just do this. Let's just make this. Why didn't I do this years ago when I started jittering? Let's just say that this fake axis behind the scenes goes from 0 to 100. I should leave the vertical axis on here, right? In case we need to edit it again. Yeah, let's pretend this goes from like 0 to 100. And then we're going to jitter some up and some down, but not like too much, not from 0 to 100, because then it's just going to look like a mess and you're not going to see the patterns, just ever so slightly. Maybe from like 40 to 60, kind of in that range. Let's see what 40 to 60 looks like. So they just go up and down a little bit. Again, it'll look like a bee swarm. Where is I'm zoomed in so much, 140%. I can't see a thing on my screen. Where is it? Where are we? Where are we? Okay, here. Okay, this is better. This is way better. Rand between, let's do a 40 to 60. Yeah, that's better. And then we're gonna like hand adjust some of them. Um, let's just see what that looks like. And then I need to adjust the data source to pull from that. Okay, select data. And it is, how do let's see, edit. The X are there, and the Y are actually over in column E. Let's turn my C's to E's. That ought to do it. Let's see what those jittered look like. Do I have a pretty swarm plot? I hope so. Is it cute? Is it cute? Are they not? Yes. Okay, but I want to keep some of them at 50 because I want like most of them at 50, but like just some of them going up or down, depend. Yeah, it's a little bit too randed. It's a little too rand betweened. Let's sort these so I can figure out which ones need to be jittered. Let's sort by uh, screening rates, the originals. Might as well put these next to each other. What am I thinking, right? Okay. Um, somehow I need to know, like, if there's only one, keep it at 50. I feel like I could write an if statement to do this for me. You can do it manually if it's just like a one-off chart. But I do so many dynamic dashboards that have to be like automatically updated that I'm always looking for formula solutions. I feel like the formula is something like if, um, it's like it starts at like 50. And then it's something like if that is the same as the thing before it, not minus, if those are equal, then do like a rand between like 40 and 60. It's something like that. Let's see. And otherwise, no, no, no. If it's the same, have it 50, otherwise rand between it. Something like that. Does that work? These two are the same. No, sorry, opposite. If they're the same, rand between it. Otherwise, just leave it at 50. Like these are the same, so that second one needs to be jittered. Is it something like that? I want some to be exactly 50. Yeah, I mean that's like a little bit closer to a swarm plot. This is too messy. Um, a swarm plot finished, pretty one, fully beautifully jittered would look like, I'll show you my template. It would look like swarm, swarm, swarm. How did I jitter these? This is what I didn't want to have to figure out. Minuses, but then that's plus, but then that's a plus, and then divided by 100. Ugh. I don't want to do that. Okay. Like they'd be like not overlapping. They'd be like nice little swarms. This is kind of these need to be adjusted by hand. Um, it needs to look like I don't know what formula would write this. It needs to look like, these would go like above a little bit more. Looks like a bee swarm. because you see like the cluster, you see the distribution. Okay, that's all right. We're halfway there. If you adjust the scale, obviously that changes everything. Like if you make it go from like 30 to 70 or something, then they're like expanded more, but maybe too much. Let's add some annotations. Do I dare add annotations when like this part's not fully jittered? I feel like people are gonna be like, I don't like the swarm plot. That looks terrible. It's like, oh, but it's not done. It's not done. I hate leaving things undone. It drags on my brain, and I don't want anything dragging my brain. It's like you're paddling a canoe and you've got like something dragging behind you in the water, just like, oh my gosh. Or you're like trying to tread water and it's like your kid's like pushing you down under. That's what unfinished data viz things do to my brain. Okay, let's add some context because this makes or breaks the xenographs. I truly believe that. So, the context we're going to add, we need a legend. Each dot represents one hospital in our system, one of the 100 hospitals in our system. One hospital, they didn't have 100. Who even cares? One hospital in our system. Each N, but that goes into Webdings to give us a circle. And maybe that should be colored for consistency. And this would be like nice and legible size. And we'll put that there. Should that go on the chart or should that go over here? That should go on the slide. Should go on the slide because I want that to be like up here. I don't want it to be like down here of the chart. Something like that. Maybe it would be spaced a little bit down. I don't know where that goes. Where's my undo button? Oops. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to go on the chart. Okay, what is going to go on the chart is like some examples. What's the lowest one? Oh, we need to add the line. The line. How to add target line via combo chart. Do I dare add it like let me just okay, it's 12:13. I'm gonna try to add this via a combo chart for like 2 minutes, and it's either gonna work or it's not. So we would have to change the chart type to a combo. Select at least two series of data. Custom combination. I can't do that. Let's do it like that. Okay, we've selected the data. Oops, not select. And now let's change the chart type. See if it lets us now. Okay, combo. We want most of this as a scatter plot, but we want this one as a line? That's not right. Does this make a difference? Can't do that. That's not right. That's totally busted. Um, no, that's not anywhere near what I want. Okay. Um, Instead of these dots down there, I want one vertical line at the 40% mark. I want a scatter plot with a column chart. And those are everywhere. I need the column chart to go to, where's my data set? Maybe I only need the 40% in here once. And it would be like somewhere around there. It's like right there. Okay. Well, time's up. I'm gonna click undo a bunch. I'm gonna do it the unsexy way. That's gonna hang on my head. Oh my gosh. Just pushing me down under the water. Okay, okay. That's all right. We're already adding some text boxes. Whatever. What's one more? 40. It's gonna go like here, here-ish. And are we gonna add a line there or are we gonna add some brackets? I think we're gonna add some brackets. How many hospitals below target? That's gonna be below. That's gonna be over here. At or above target. Ooh, this is a really good opportunity for some icons. Do we want to use a plus and minus or a check and an X? I think it's a check X. Check. Where's my X? There you are. And we don't want them cartoonishly large. I typically go to about a half an inch. And really, we need like all the ones below to be a different color. But it's super, super annoying to click on one of these at a time and change the color. Oh, that just kills me. We're just gonna leave them all the same color for now. Um, Another TBD is like change colors of dots. Gray for below, brand color for at or above. I just hate doing that one dot at a time. Okay, where's our below? It's that. I feel like if we have these in, they're not gonna be black. Are they gonna be purple? Is that too many like brand colors going on? Maybe those are just gonna be gray because they're context and we don't want this to get too busy. Maybe they're just gonna be gray. Let's see. Are these words gonna go like here? No, I think they're gonna go, I think they're gonna go here. Oops. Lots of layers of text boxes going on. It's hard to move everything. They're gonna go like here, I think. Are these gonna be centered? Yeah, I think they are. I think that's gonna go like shape format, align, center. That's gonna go roughly over here below target. That's gonna be a new line. Line breaks matter so much. I feel like people don't pay attention to line breaks as much as they should. We're also going to add some, are we going to call it target or goal? Below screening goal. Let's call it goal. I think the real example had these as a goal. At or above goal. Okay, let's align center. Great. Something like that. Maybe these are going to be bumped down a little bit. And maybe we need a bracket. Let's try it. That is going to be not the star of the show because then we're going to have way too many colors going on. What am I using? Like medium gray? Are these medium gray? Yeah. And then we're going to rotate this about a 90 that way. Yeah. And this is going to be the same width. These are going to go from like, see how it goes like the 40? I eyeballed that a little bit, but it's like roughly centered below there. Um, That is how many inches wide? 4.82. Let's make this like a 4.82. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. 4.82. And maybe like that tall. And there, is that too busy? Hmm. And that's gonna go like, that's gonna be how wide? This is a 7.2. Let's make that a 7.2. If I can click on it, this one, 7.2, is that what we said? And that is going to go over, oops, not that one. Is this too busy or is it important context? We're not done yet. We'll be done soon. I want to label a couple of the individual columns, not columns, hospitals. Probably a min, a max, an average. You know, I was giving a class yesterday. It was a 3.5 hour class. We had 180 people join live. It was for peak grant making. And I mentioned that, like, hey, let's not just use bar charts because they are only for surface level statistics. Bar charts just show like averages, sums. We wouldn't just want to show the average screening rate. We want to do something like a swarm plot that shows all the data, all the nuances. And then after that, we can add an average back in. And I had made a note in my little my little to-do list of ongoing blog posts and YouTube videos. Like someday I should make a YouTube video about that. This is roughly related. Okay, let's center all these. Align, center, align, center. Alignment makes or breaks graphs. And we need to label like somehow the goal has to be labeled. It at least has to be, maybe it's gonna go like this. Maybe I'm gonna do another like unsexy label. I feel like I'm so cheating. A live stream that a few people join live and then hundreds of people are gonna watch after the fact and they're gonna be like, you did that? I'm doing this. Do you see what I'm doing? I want to make this bold. And I'm gonna put it on top of the original. 40% goal, something like that. It's going to be on top of the original, and then I'm going to do a shape fill white so that it covers up the original. Okay, I just need that bold. Is that enough? I don't want to clutter this up by having like a line. Um, I think that's good. Should the scale go on the top? I feel like the scale should go on the top. How do let's add this back in and flip this upside down. Can I do that to make the percentages go on the top? I think that's, yeah, I don't want you zigzagging your eyes, top, bottom, top, bottom. Can I do this? Values in reverse order? Yeah, okay, that's the quick fix. Oops, oops, oops. Yeah, okay, let's space this down. Let's move this down. Let's keep, this is too smushy. Something like that. Oh, oops. There. Too smushy. Something like that. No fill. Let's put the goal on top. Goal, colon, space, or like new line. Like that. Yeah, that makes me happier. I really wanted the goal to go on top. Goal, 40% of patients screened. Something like that. I don't like that. That's too busy. How about just goal 40%? Because you would know the whole thing's about screening rates, because her whole presentation was about screening rates. People are not brand new to this concept. Okay, put it on top, fill it with white. Oh my gosh, now you know all my unsexy secrets here. Okay, I think this line needs to match that line somehow. Um, I almost wonder if these tick marks now have to go on the like inside. Is that better? Um, maybe I don't need these brackets. Or maybe they just need to be thinner and match to gray. I can't click on them right now. There we go. Maybe they need to be like, maybe they need to be like the same width as right here and lighter and thinner. What is the weight of this line? I kind of think they need to match the weight of this line. Solid line, that's a 0.75. Let's make them match. Otherwise, it's too cluttered. Where's this bracket I added by hand? Okay. Line, weight. Did the other one say 0.75 and this one says 3/4? Isn't that weird? It's like different units. Okay. Same thing over here. Can I format painter these? I think so. Let's try. I'm gonna have to click in just the right spot. Yes, that worked. Yes, now they match. That's way less cluttered, isn't it? Nice and cohesive. That's the width I want. And then both of these are going to be like smaller. I think I had them 0.15. Now they're zero point 0.1. We're going to align them top and then we're going to, okay, they're going to go up here like that, something like that. Um, let's see if this looks better. I think we're getting there, kind of. Or do I not need the below and above? How many hospitals? Let's see. How many are at or above or below, whatever? Where's our cutoff? 40 and 60? 40 of 60 hospitals. Maybe this does need to be a same line. I don't know if I feel like this is redundant now. This is like weird. Do I not need those? I don't know. I don't know. You can see I'm clearly on the fence of where all these things go. Okay, let's add a little bit more context here. What do we want to call out? Min, max, average, something like that. Should I add um hospital what is it? Hospitals 2 and 6. This would be like names in real life, like the Mercy Hospital and the Thomas Hospital, whatever their names are. Um, Hospitals 2 and 6 screened 1% of their patients. And maybe I do a little, what if these all are like a light brand color and then it's like some of the call outs are darker? We could try that. It's easy to change colors later. I would almost want these to be on top, which means I'd have to resort my table. Um, if we add another line, is this gonna get worse? Oh my gosh, I hope I'm not making it worse. Um, gray. We want the second gray. We want the weight to be 3/4, something like that. Let's do lowest screening rate. Oops. I don't know. This is getting like too full. This is getting too full. Lowest screening rates. Maybe lowest and highest would go like to the side. Maybe that's implied because everybody looking at this knows how the screening rates at their own hospitals work. Maybe that's so obvious we don't need it. Um, what is the average? Let's find the average. 53? Should we add the average to the graph? Let's do it. Oops, that's going to throw off all that. Let's put it at the bottom. Can you tell my brain is getting tired? Let's see. Let me pull up my calendar real quick though, because I have a meeting at 1. I have a meeting at, oh, my 1 o'clock got canceled. This person's canceled on me 4 weeks in a row. Okay, I have a 1:45. That's okay. I'm still gonna finish this ASAP. I'm looking at my other screen at my calendar right now. Okay, the average is here. The average is the average of all of these. And that gets like this stuff too. Average is there in dark. Perfect. On average, hospitals have screened 53% of patients. Yeah, this is like coming together, but not there yet. But if every dot represents a hospital, do I dare show the average? You know what? The average was not like a thing. Not in NA's real example. She was focused on who's below, who's above, like how many are below and above. So I don't, why am I adding complexity to this, to something that was not complex? We just want like an at a glance view of like who's done their screening, who hasn't. Okay. Maybe we'll just add, whoops, whoops. Let's add one more call out and then we're going to call it a day because my brain's getting super duper full. Usually my max for a brain intensive thing is like 60, 90 minutes, just like most people. Okay. Did anybody hit 100 in our pretend example? Let's say it's hospital. What number? Who hit 99%? That's probably enough call outs. Hospitals 33 and 85. Still have a headache. Isn't that terribly annoying? How are we looking? I'm not happy with this. I mean, it's more accurate than the scatter plot, but I feel like I need like more fiddling time. It's too much. It's something with the placement of the legends. Maybe I don't have to label these. Maybe I just need to label the 0 and the 100. I don't know. Um, do you see what I mean? We're like most of the way there, but can you see it's like not up to Anne Emery standard? I think they're not jittered enough. I'm making my pretend y-axis kind of, I'm stretching them a little bit more. Let's see if that helps a little bit. Doesn't that help a little bit? They are re-jittering themselves behind the scenes, though. Oh, oops. Where did my horizontal? Oh, it went on the. I thought I told this to go upside down. Did it upside down itself? I must have clicked something to upside down it. Okay, that's better. Closer to what it was. That didn't change much at all. Okay. Obviously, in my mind, I've thought about the orientation of this. I think we need the width, though. I think we need it to go this way. I think there's just too much like space lost by all this. Like that's it. Maybe I just don't need the brackets. Where is my undo arrow on PowerPoint? I feel lost without it. I like to be able to do and undo stuff all the time. Maybe I don't need, maybe it's just these stupid brackets. Maybe that's what's like hurting this so much. Do a without brackets version and see what we think. And then I'm gonna stop. Do I dare put the yuck yuck one? Yeah, let's do it. Oof, making me dizzy again. Are we okay with this being half formatted? I'm not. That's killing me, Smalls. Why is that not fitting this slide? Isn't that weird? Did I somehow stretch it by accident? Something like that. Okay. Um, do we do a recap? Yeah. It's not done enough though. This is just really hurting my eyes. It's just so many. I mean, again, that's like why the bar chart doesn't work. Okay. Hmm. More coffee to do a recap. So I've been live streaming about an hour, 15 minutes at this point, having a great time talking to myself on this Friday morning, sipping my coffee, crossing my fingers that my headache goes away, but it hasn't. And what I've been working on is transforming this before graph scatter plot that shouldn't quite be a scatter plot into something else. Okay, so some context. This is pretend data based on a real project from a one-to-one consultation that I did with NA or her initials this morning. She had signed up for an online course and got an early bird bonus of a 45-minute consultation with me. So, we met, we held that consultation, and she was showing me how this is about screening rates for hospitals and each dot is a hospital. And I was like, okay, like I don't think this is a scatter plot. I know it's not a scatter plot because scatter plots need X and Y. And this only has one variable. It's just like the X or the Y. It's just screening rates. And what we really need is like names of hospitals or something. You know what I mean? It didn't quite make sense this way. So one thing I tried was a bar chart, which is half formatted where you just have like a bar per hospital. Okay. The formatted version would look something like this, where you would label what your goal or target was, and then you'd have like hospital names. You'd probably add some icons like checks and X's. Maybe the ones meeting the target are a dark brand color. The ones that aren't are in gray. You have this intentional gap here. Okay, so can you kind of like imagine like this format applied here? Hopefully enough. Hopefully, okay. The tricky part about this bar chart though is like it is so stripy looking. It's seriously, I really almost can't look at it. It's truly like making me dizzy. So I'm gonna click off that, okay? Um, a slight twist on that I didn't make because I knew it wouldn't be the winning combination because there's just like too many bars. It would be a lollipop chart, okay? So a lollipop chart would look like I'm gonna draw like the roughest lollipop chart. It would look like this, where you'd have like, hospital one, hospital two, hospital three, four, five, etc., all 100. And you'd have a stick of a lollipop, and then you'd have the endpoint labeled. Okay, it would look like this. It's just a bar chart with like dots on the endpoint, which is kind of what was here. We were just missing the stick. Does that make sense? We were missing like half of the candy. We were missing the lollipop. Okay, so scatter plot doesn't work because there's only one variable. There's not two. Bar charts, way too busy, make my head really hurt. Even if you formatted it more, I think it's just too many. A lollipop would be the same problems. There's just too many. So that brings me into the swarm plot, which I want to love, but I don't. Something's like just slightly off with the formatting. But the idea is the swarm plot puts everything on like one, there's one variable. There's like the X or there's the Y. There's not two things here. And then because these would all like stream into each other, they'd run into each other because there's just so many with the same percentage here. You jitter them, making some of the dots go up or down. So it kind of looks like a bee swarm, like a little insect swarm by the time you're done. I don't love this one because I feel like there's not enough real estate dedicated to the actual dots and the distribution of the dots. I played around with it for a while, thinking like, do I just remove those brackets? Maybe all this stuff goes below the graph instead of above. I don't know. It's not, I'm gonna sleep on it. Maybe I'll come back to this one and fine tune it. TBD in all my spare time, right? With like a list of 20 million other YouTube videos that I want to make on my list. Okay, I am going to go do the rest of the things on my Friday to-do list. I hope you enjoyed following along. And I'm also going to make the Excel file that I was working on behind the scenes available to download, but give me like an hour or so after the live stream. It takes time for this to like process. I'm gonna have to like save it, upload it in a way that you can download and so on. Have a good weekend. Have a good Friday. Bye, friends.